Excellent work, class. After lunch, we'll carry on learning about the amazing ancient Egyptians and what life was like for them between 2,000 and 5,000 years ago. Oh, right, there's the bell. Have a great lunch.
First ones for lunch always the pharaoh. Woohoo!
Ugh, I'm so hungry. Wait for me.
Do you think the Egyptians had cake?
What? Mum gave you cake? All I got was pork and fish. I wonder what the ancient Egyptians were really like. Falling! Ow! Wow, I'm in ancient Egypt. This is so cool. Ancient Egypt was one of the greatest and most powerful civilizations in the history of the world. It lasted for over 3,000 years, from 3,150 BC to 30 BC. The civilization of ancient Egypt was located along the Nile River in the northeast Africa. The Nile was the source of much of the ancient Egyptians' wealth. Great cities grew up along the Nile, and the people became experts in irrigation. They were able to use water from the Nile to grow rich and profitable crops. The Nile provided food, water, soil, and transportation for the ancient Egyptians. Great floods would come each year to provide a fertile soil for growing their food. Most of the people in ancient Egypt were farmers. They grew barley to make beer, wheat for bread, vegetables such as onions, melons, squash, and cucumbers. They also grew flax to make linen clothes. The pharaohs of Egypt were often buried in giant pyramids or secret tombs. They believed they needed treasures and everyday items to be buried with them for use in the afterlife. As a result, archaeologists have discovered a lot of well-preserved artifacts which help them understand how the ancient Egyptians lived. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the largest of all Egyptian pyramids and is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It is located about 5 miles to the west of the Nile River, near the modern city of Cairo, Egypt. The pyramids contain a series of rooms and chambers, which have specific purposes for the burials. The walls were often highly decorated and the tombs contained lots of treasures. They also contained the mummified bodies of the pharaoh and often their servants. The Queen's burial chamber was also in the pyramid and usually located exactly underneath the pharaoh's final resting place. The Valley of the Kings was a great burial ground for the pharaohs. After around 1500 BC, they no longer built great pyramids in which to be buried. Instead, most were buried in tombs in the Valley of Kings. There are over 60 tombs there. They vary from the small tombs that are little more than a large hole in the ground to very large tombs with over 100 underground chambers. Most of the tombs have been looted thousands of years ago and all the contents stolen by thieves. However, an archaeologist named Howard Carter found one in 1922 and it was undisturbed. This famous tomb belonged to Tutankhamun. It revealed many treasures and answers to how ancient Egyptians lived, and how the pharaohs' bodies were prepared for the afterlife. A sphinx is a mythological creature with a body of a lion and the head of a person. In ancient Egypt, a lot of times the head was that of a pharaoh or a god. The Egyptians built sphinx statues to guard important areas such as tombs and temples. The most famous sphinx is the Great Sphinx of Giza. It is one of the largest and oldest statues in the world. Archaeologists believe that it was carved around 2500 BC and that its head is meant to be the likeness of Pharaoh Khafra. The Great Sphinx faces the sunrise and guards the Great Pyramid tombs of Giza. The Temple of Karnak is the largest and most visited temple in ancient Egypt. The temple was built to house the god Amun with his wife Mut and the son Khonsu. The most famous section of Karnak is the hypostyle hall. The hall is 50,000 square feet, filled with 134 huge stone columns. The 12 center columns are 70 feet tall. The hall was built by Pharaoh Seti I around 1290 BC. The temple was constructed over the course of 3,000 years. About 30 different pharaohs had a hand in the construction of this temple. Ancient Egypt was rich in culture, including government, religion, arts, and writing. The government and religion were tied together as leader of the government. The pharaoh was also the leader of the religion. Writing was important in keeping the government running. Only scribes were able to read and write, and they were considered powerful people. Scribes usually came from wealthy families and trained for years to learn the complex Egyptian hieroglyphics. The ancient Egyptians even built a famous lighthouse at the city of Alexandria. It was another one of the wonders of the ancient world and thought to be over 100 meters tall. It would have been the tallest human-made structure on the planet. It used a mirror to reflect sunlight during the day and a large fire to light up at night. The ancient Egyptians used long, narrow boats to travel. And for ceremonies, boats were very important for transporting people, crops, and animals. They were sometimes given their own burials. Whoa! Ah! It's the bell! Gotta go to class! Sorry I'm late, miss. I was at ancient Egypt. I'll explain after PE.
Oh, and here I thought you were feeding dinosaurs on Jupiter. Please take your seat. Okay, let's get back to work.